That class was fantastic. There's 50 kids. What they gave, they have to fill out a master plan for their life at the end. And, honestly, I was crying on most of the master plans. But 40 out of 50 were not religious. Okay? But they were still thinking that there's got to be something more to this story. So that's kind of where I went with it. Okay, I just thought I'd get you caught up on Kansas. Why is there the main line in Kansas, the Protestant main line? There's a reason. You guys are big. It's who were the two leading states in terms of the revival of the main line? Do you know? It's Pennsylvania and you. You all are leading the pack. I was really surprised by that. Mainline, you have 24% of your population is related to mainline. So there's a reason your churches are surviving in Lawrence. And it's weird because I've given talks, I can't remind me of this, but I gave a talk in Wichita. And I couldn't believe it because Wichita, why would they have a Presbyterian minister come there? Because they have a vital church. Surprise, surprise. Well, anyway, that's the reason. You have 24%. Where's the country going in terms of that? 14%. Pretty extensive decline. And it's going down this way. The trend line is all bad. Some of us think that, well, if we become more progressive, that will change the trend line. I don't, to be honest, I'm not sure that's true. Okay? I know that's bad news for y'all. Nobody's talking. I'm not sure if that's the answer. I think that's the right thing. Is that the answer? Not really. And I'll tell you why. Younger people think, duh, of course you accept gay people. What took you so long? So you don't get any benefit off that. Do you see what I'm saying? Now you're doing the right thing, and I'm with you on it. I'm supportive. But it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky business that's going on. So I think it's a good thing that's happened. But I know it's not quite the answer. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know that this is pertinent to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But one of the things, I go back and forth between the Episcopal Church and Plymouth. Plymouth churches, their focus so much is on social justice.
Yeah.
And the difference in the numbers of youth in church. Plymouth is probably about 10 times as many as Trinity Episcopal.
Yeah.
And they do things like do trips to the camper people, and they go to Indian reservations. They raise money through the church for the kids to be able to go. I think those kids are having a sense of this religion is connected with this social justice issue. I don't have any kids.
Right. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. I'm for it. I go to a church that has that too. But I think the catching of the gospel, that the gospel becomes your story, is the key to whether the faith becomes a long-term agent in your life. Does that make any sense? If you have to catch the virus, and I don't mean that obviously in a bad way, the virus, which is the gospel, which this dramatic character called Jesus, named Jesus Christ, comes into our world and says, serve at the cost of your life. And in that service, at the cost of your life, you redeem your world and your life for the sake of the gospel. So, anyway, that's kind of my 2 cents on that. But yeah, so that's the Kansas. You're you're gonna hold up okay for a while. Yeah, go ahead.
So some statistics just came out about 2018,
Yeah.
and that mainline actually went up in percentage across the U.S., while evangelical and Catholic churches went down.
Where did you see this?
It's either from Pew or The Wire. I'd have to look it up, but I'm recording you on my phone, so
Okay.
otherwise I'd look up what it was.
Yeah.
But would be interested in if you have, of course, there's tons of people that have tried to interpret that data and made suggestions. And I'm wondering if you have any ideas of why that might
I
have
just don't
happened.
believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I'd have to look at the source.
There's a couple of suggestions that have
Go ahead.
that made a suggestion that it may have to do with younger generations seeing a lack of validity in the evangelical church after their blessing of Trump. And given the nature title of your talk, I wondered if you would see any validity in that being a possibility, or.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I wonder if it's a long-term trend, and it's a good question.
Or just
don't know. I think, and we'll come to this, but evangelicals are, some of us believe that all evangelicals are in Trump's camp, and that's not true.
Right.
There's a decent amount of numbers that say they're not. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I'd love to see that data. If you can
Yeah, I'll try to pull it up.
show it to me. Yeah.
How much of the Kansas percentage in Pennsylvania is due to the fact that they're strong in rural churches, that densely populated? In Kansas, there's mainline Protestant churches in almost every small town.
Every small town.
Pennsylvania is the same way. You can drive a mile and find three that Methodist churches. It's the sheer number of buildings.
No, I think it's numbers. It's real numbers. These are real people. These aren't just buildings. So it is. You are an aberration, and I mean that in the best sense. Yeah, it's good. There's a reason why this town has so many churches. People are still going to them. A lot of these smaller towns, they're all empty. So you should feel good about yourself. This is amazing that you're getting this many people out on Sunday night. It truly is. A lot of places aren't getting anyone out. So you should feel good about yourself in that sense. Go to Pennsylvania, or if you want to be a Protestant mainliner. So what are the sources of this? Mark Chavez, American Religion, Contemporary Trends, a good book, a little bit old, but a good book. National Congregational Studies Survey of Congregational, directed by the National Opinion Research Center at the U of C, General Social Survey, and then the Pew Research Center. These are really the best sources for data. If you want to get real data that's legitimate, go there. So there's continuity in American religion. Let's go through this. Are you guys still with me? You getting tired yet? Is this good? Are we going too slow? Go faster? Good? Okay, so people know that God exists, 64%. They believe in God, 92%. There is within the human, it seems to be in the human spirit to believe in something, a spirit or a God. There's something there. So it's not like this story is dead. Born again, about a third of the population. Pray several times a week. Many people do. Many people who are not Christians pray. A lot of people pray. So the prayer is not dead by any means. It is a way to appeal to people, in fact. Come to the prayer service. Prayer is really important to people. On a deathbed, when you see somebody dying, when you see a little child born, when you fall in love, when any kind of event that's either that takes you to the kind of the end of your, or the ultimate of your being, you want to reach out. Humans have that tendency. This is a tendency within human beings. People read the Bible. A third of us watch religious television. I think that's dropping too. Extremely, very religious, about a quarter of us. Most of us believe in heaven. even if we don't believe in God. Okay? Most believe in heaven, even if they, that's a real issue. People don't want to go to hell. They want to go to heaven, right? Discontinuity. 3% no religion in 1957. And today it's about 17% and rising. So that's a rising figure. Now you can turn that around and say that's good news for us. Hey, we got a lot more people to evangelize. And I will say, young people, let's put this bluntly, young people, excluding you guys probably are huge readers, don't tend to read, they just don't. I mean, we know that. That's not being negative, it's just being honest. So what was I getting at?
17% no religion.
No religion. So in a sense, you can evangelize to people as if they've never heard the message. Okay? That's something to think about, that we can be, it's probably time for Christians to be evangelists. And that's really what I saw in Rob Bell. That he could speak to young people, especially, young professionals, and really, you should, I love his stuff. Read his book. He's really good with words and with sharing the message. But he could speak into their lives in a way they could hear, and they go, yeah, that gives me hope, right? We all need some hope in life. We all need, right? Don't you? You have to, that feeling, that sense of feeling good. Life is possible. Explanation for Christianity in particular, now identified with a political party. I'm not that. And you know which party that is. Wow. I don't know what to do with that. It's a struggle for us all, right? It's identified. And what's interesting about the Democratic Party is that it's moving away from identifying with Christianity. If you notice the present candidates, not all of them, there's a growing part of the Democratic Party that is no longer claiming any faith. This is the first time, this is the first run in office where I've really seen that. And I'm not sure what that means. That's interesting. But they're no longer appealing to a faith, to appeal to the hope that we have in us. Okay? Yeah, any thoughts on that? That's interesting, isn't it? Is it a mistake or no? Yeah, go ahead.
Part of it is a reaction to the way Donald Trump activates his base.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate, which it would like to see something better than just a reaction, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a reaction. Is it a smart reaction?
I'll let you know in 2020.
Yeah.
There's more tolerance, though, and diversity.
There's what?
There's more tolerance and diversity.
And which is a good thing.
I think so.
Yes, I do too. Yeah. Well, okay, good. Yeah. No. Yeah. What do you mean by? Tell me more about that.
Oh, I mean, it's not a Christian Jewish nation anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Fewer Protestants around, 45% relative to 65% in the 1960s. The Jews are about the same place they've always been, about equal to Muslims and Buddhists and Hindus combined. Increase in the number of people marrying across religious lines. We know from sociology that when you marry outside your religion, you tend to lose your religion. So that's just a sociological fact. And most